Hello guys, I am not trolling you. AD Kayle is legitimately very good. There are a couple of scenarios where I would consider AD Kayle over AP Kayle, mostly depending on what my team comp looks like, because Kayle can offer AD or AP, and that's the beauty of this ridiculously OP champion who's still very, very good. I still probably underestimate her because her early laning phase is so bad. In fact, speaking of bad early laning phases, I've got a video for you tomorrow that you're going to see that shows you just how bad it can be as a Kayle, but we did get a good comeback, so watch out for that video tomorrow. Also, thanks to G2A for sponsoring the channel. Reference link in the description below. Let's talk about AD Kayle. Man Immune into Solari Charge Blade. It used to be then into Rune and Hurricane, but now I think it's better into something like Phantom Dancer. Just gives you a little bit more protection as a Kayle. Into Infinity Edge to finish off, to have your absolute crits, and then something defensive like a Guardian Angel. Runes, you have to play Conqueror. It's like the only good rune on Kayle regardless. Then I like Brutal just for sort of better CSing in the early laning phase. And then obviously I like to go for Adaptive Carapace and then also Sweet Tooth. Now obviously Sweet Tooth could also be Mana Flow Band, but I feel like I know Mana Flow Band gives you that little extra when it comes to using Mana Immune. I don't think it matters to Kayle in the long run. I think that the issue is that if you don't go for Sweet Tooth, then you're going to be you're going to be struggling when it comes to surviving the laning phase. But hey, let's get into the game. Let's see how it goes. All right, guys. So I'm going to be doing like a live commentary of a recording, mainly because I was just not talking when I was playing. Like I was so concentrated, it didn't make for a very good live viewing experience. So what we're going to talk about is kind of like how we played this game out and why we chose to do what we do, looking at my mistakes, looking at the things that I did well, because believe me, I do not play perfectly. No one does. There is always mistakes to be looked at. So let's take a look at the game then, if I can get it to start. There we go. Cool. We are on the road. Right. So, AD Kayle and in Kayle in general, you're always taking either this or this first. It really depends. I always max my third ability first. I used to max my first ability first for some reason. That was kind of like very old school Kayle, but I max my third ability first. This lane is not an easy lane, especially pre-5. Like Garen, even though he started spin, who does that? Who starts spin? Even though he started spin, you know, he's still a lane matchup that you're not going to win against. Like, Kayle does not win any lane matchups. You know, regardless of many lane matchups, she doesn't win many lane matchups. So you kind of just have to sit around and say, fair enough, like this Garen's going to kind of abuse me. There's a reason I took this. I took that even though I was full HP because it's 60 gold and Garen could have very easily done it. Now, I have no idea what Garen was doing here, but I decided to go for the engage, mainly because I had Conqueror stacks, and for some reason, unbeknownst to me, Garen just walks past the tower and takes about 50 tower shots. Now, he is Garen. He also has his honey fruit available, so he's still going to come back to the lane with a slightly greater HP value than me. I thought maybe I could try and go for the kill, but, you know, because we're playing AD Kayle and we started a Sapphire Crystal first, we're able to actually spam our heal and not lose mana. So that's one of the good things about starting Sapphire Crystal first as a Kayle. You can actually spam your heal and not lose too much of your own mana. And again, we're just giving space to the Garen. Like, we cannot go toe-to-toe with Garen in a fight. He still beats us at pretty much every stage of the game. So we just need to play a little bit more sort of secure, safe. Wait till we hit level 5. And then at level 5, well, it's a Garen. You're still not going to kill him. But you'll be able to farm much more effectively, and you'll be able to kind of take better trades overall. But yeah, that Garen did something really weird. It kind of threw some of the early laning phase for him. And that's now allowed me to pick up my tier very early on. And again, like I said, once you've got tier, you can start spamming the heal, you can start spamming your abilities, start stacking that up as quickly as possible, because that's a really nice little item spike just to give you that sustainability in lane. Like, we want to sustain in the laning phase. Kayle is not a champion before level 5, and realistically, she's not a champion before level 10. So you just need to be patient when you're playing Kayle. Don't think that you can win any of these early trades. But as soon as you are level 5, that does make the laning phase significantly easier. We now have that ranged attack. That means we can farm versus the melee champs that were previously shitting on us. And that puts us in a much better spot overall as a Kayle player. Now, one of the things that you do need to be a little aware of when you're playing Kayle, and this is just an Evelyn trying to come and kill me, I think because the Garen roamed mid for some reason. One of the things that you should be a little aware of when you're playing Kayle is first Dragon. That's going to be your first big choice in the game, right? What do you do as a Kayle player? Do you go to the Dragon and be absolutely useless, or do you sit in lane, get free experience and free gold, and just try and get to the point in the game where you're strong? Going to the Dragon needs to be assessed based on your team comp. So you need to look at like the rest of your team comp and say, would a invulnerability shield make us win this fight? And that's how you can decide whether going to the Dragon is a good idea or not as a Kayle, right? You can basically decide based on your comp, would a invulnerability shield turn the tides of this fight versus their team? In my particular case, I thought, well, versus an Evelyn and a Katarina, yes, that's like a pretty good situation to want to have an invulnerability shield. But again, I still need that time to scale up. And as you can see here, like that looks like it did no damage, but if you catch, I actually barriered. And another reason why I decided to go down to this fight is because I was backing at the same time. And also Garen had just used his ultimate. So I thought, actually, that's a relatively good time to think about going to this fight. So I'm going to go clear that wave top, because it looks like they aren't actually committing to the fight 100%. But having that ultimate available is a really nice addition to a team fight around the Dragon. Garen not rotating means that I am much more willing to kind of go up towards this top side of the map and just clear this wave out. Because if Garen doesn't rotate, then there is no real need for me to rotate here. But he backs off after getting a plate, which probably puts him in a situation where he may be thinking about going down towards that Dragon fight. However, my team basically clean up with the Blitzcrank's pools, and so they are more than happy. I see Garen roaming, and I think, okay, like, do they need me there, or can I stay at this stage? And I think, I got confused between this game and another game. There was another game where I did roam down. This game, I thought, well, they killed the Lux. There shouldn't really be any reason for us to kind of stick around the Dragon. Even though I saw the Garen come, they saw the Garen come as well from quite a long way away. And at this point, I'm just going to sort of take away as many tower plates as I can, get as much free experience and free gold as I physically can as well. Garen, obviously, is rotating up here. So he's actually left that fight now. He's kind of coming straight back towards this top side of the map, which is why I'm playing a little safe, because I know that he's going to appear. He is a little low on HP though, so we're in a fine spot. Has got that honey fruit backup available. You can still see that he does absolutely stomp, and I have to use my ultimate here, as you can see. Still stomps me as a Kayle. Still very difficult for me to play the game at this stage. And this is a really nice piece of play. I flash out of the Katarina ultimate. I head back towards around the Akali. Just playing it as safe as I physically can. Heal. Have the barrier available if I need it. Get out of the Evelyn ultimate to make sure I don't die. Katarina's looking for the reset here. She doesn't find it. I have the barrier. And that's my first kill of the game. I managed to dodge away and don't die to the ignite, which is absolutely fantastic. They're massively overextending here. They don't have the Evelyn ultimate. And because I'm playing AD Kayle, all these basic attacks really hurt. I heal up the Blitzcrank to give him the movement speed. And boom, what a fight for a Kayle at 6 minutes into the game. Huge amount of gold to go and spend now. Get me towards that Solari Charge Blade. And once you get Solari Charge Blade, you are in for a banger of a game as an AD Kayle, because that, you're constantly using abilities. Like, you're using your first and your third ability over and over again. Team actually walks away with both the Dragon and the Herald here after we played a really nice fight. And I did just burn my ultimate. Luckily, I think trading for Garen ultimate, especially in these early stages of the game, is actually not a bad trade whatsoever. But I'm actually sort of starting to join fights a little bit more readily here, as you can see. Doing a bit more damage to the Garen. Not a huge amount more damage, but a bit more damage to the Garen. Obviously, it's going to be a little while before I start to really do an insane amount of damage. But the Jarvan roam was really nice here. And we get a double kill on the Akali. The Xayah is just kind of like permanently sitting in the side lane. We end up dropping the Rift Herald mid. I give it a couple of hits to ensure that we get the tower. And that's a tower picked up in the mid side. First tower of the game, or it might have been second tower of the game. I think Xayah might have ended up picking up the first tower of the game. But regardless, it's mid lane tower. Mid lane tower is such a big power spike because basically it now allows us to kind of put vision through these areas, and it makes it much less safe for the enemy. We can also just like, I learned how to clear. How do I clear? There we go. We can also put a ward here, and that just like keeps vision where their tower would usually reveal that ward. So you can actually be a bit more aggressive versus a Garen. I thought that maybe I'd get away with this without using my ultimate here. Had to use it, as you can see. But the Xayah just roots me, and I end up dying to the Garen. So I just underestimated the Xayah flashing on me and killing me under my own tower, because the Xayah really has been very absent from the game for the most part. So I just wasn't even remotely considering a Xayah roaming up towards the top side of the map. But she ends up, I think, getting killed here because she doesn't have that flash available. So she does end up going down, which is fine. Unlucky for us, though, Garen does kind of get away with it. Oh, no, he dies to the Blitzcrank. But the Evelynn ends up picking up the kill. So, you know. Or does she? That's a good question, actually. Does she? We're now level 10, though. So level 10 basically makes us a champion. So, like, this is the really big power spike for Kayle. You know, the one that actually makes you much more of a champion, specifically because A, you can build up towards your AoE basic attacks, but B, you have that huge AoE burst on your third ability, which basically allows you to take towers more quickly, makes you much more useful in team fights. And we get a chunk of gold there. And this is what I like to do on Kayle as well. Either if I'm playing bot side or top side, or Baron side or Dragon side, I just like to farm the Krugs, because it's so easy to farm Krugs with Kayle post level 10. Like, you just obliterate them. And it gives you a huge chunk of experience as well. So one of the reasons that I don't think you massively need armor pen on Kayle is because you deal a lot of magic damage as part of your kit, right? I think there is cause to say that you could maybe go Seralda's Grudge. Like, you could say you could go Seralda's Grudge instead of something like a Guardian Angel. But I don't massively think that you need armor pen on Kayle, because you do a huge amount of magic damage. You're very much a hybrid carry, and so therefore itemizing defensively against you is actually really difficult. But we're at that stage of the game now where our burst is really, really strong. So we're just doing insane amounts of burst. And plus you have natural armor pen built into your kit, or you have natural resistance penetration built into your kit with your first ability. So as long as you use your first ability on that tanky target, you actually shred through some of their resistances. I thought I was going to be able to catch and slow the Garen. I was very, very wrong. He actually used his first ability at such a great time there, stopped himself from getting slowed. And I just realized there was no way I was catching the Garen with Dead Man's Plate, and so I just ended up starting to farm the jungle. And this is what you do need to do. I know it's going to seem really greedy, and honestly, your junglers are going to be really mad at you for doing this, but just farming the jungle. You need to get, like, experience is the #1 resource that makes Kayle good. Like, having experience is what makes you a champion, basically, at the end of the day. Like, level 15 is such a ridiculous power spike for any Kayle users. You just kind of have to respect it. You can see here, and this is a really, really good ultimate from me. It bought a lot of time and allowed me to get a huge amount of damage ramped up here, even though you could see I took a massive amount of damage from the Xayah, and Evelynn just practically just hanging around on the side, waiting to get the kill. We were just given so much time with a really nice ultimate on the Jarvan there, and you can see it's just we're doing a lot of damage now, like a lot of damage on this Kayle. You can see even like every basic attack is like, I would say 25% magic, 75% AD, but we're really popping at this stage in the game. And again, like I said, level 15 is what's going to make you really, really strong. But we are versus stuff like an Evelynn and a Katarina, which obviously is going to make it a little easier to kill me. Obviously, Zhonya's, like, I think Stasis is like a necessary enchant for a Kayle. It allows you to have another button to press if you're getting focused. You don't always want to have to use your ultimate on yourself. So giving yourself a Stasis enchant will allow you to maybe buy time so that you don't need to use that ultimate, or obviously allow you to have your own get out of jail free card if your ultimate has been used on someone else already in the fight. Need to be a little concerned, obviously, about the Garen just split pushing. I think that's one of the big mistakes that a lot of people make, is that they often underestimate how quickly champions can push towers in the side lanes. So, and I think as a Kayle, you naturally want to absorb as much kind of like free solo experience that you can get. And obviously, Garen pushing a wave into the side lane, like just solo experience is really nice for a Kayle, because it just gets you towards your power targets more quickly than not. Now, this is a really terrible fight for us, by the way. Like, I have no idea why we were in this fight, because I just got bopped. We were like chasing them through their own jungle, and we gave up so much. Like, we gave up so much. Luckily, our Jarvan was like strong enough to kind of kill enough people to make it very difficult to do the Baron. And without the Evelyn, even though they get a clean ace here, without the Evelyn, there's no way they can do the Baron. It's just like a Katarina and a Lux. So we did enough to kind of stop the Baron being an issue. However, you know, they have plenty of people on the map, and plenty of people on the map, and they can get a quick, easy reset for Drake. I am really strong, though. I'm level 13. Hells is pretty strong on the Kai'Sa. So this is like a good opportunity for me and Hells to kind of flex our muscles. And I think actually we are strong enough, as you can see. I used the ultimate just to make sure that Hells doesn't die, even though I didn't really need to. And now I'm starting to like do some serious damage. Hells as well, just doing like a huge amount. I heal myself and then get a triple kill because I got a crit as well onto that Xayah. So triple kill at the dragon because their jungler hadn't arrived. Do also have that stasis available. So, you know, should I need to use that stasis, I can. The heals are doing good work too. Garen using stone plate here, but he gets caught up. And look, I actually chunk through Garen. Like, I chunk through Garen pretty easily, even with all those resistances that he's got. Guys, why can I never say resistances? Does anyone else have as much trouble saying that one word as me? I really have trouble saying that word. Anyway, 8, 2, and 8. We're doing pretty good on this Kayle so far. Hells has been so kind as to gift me the red buff, and I think actually it's probably the right decision given that I'm so close to level 15 power spike, but also just really strong as AD Kayle right now. Also have that Infinity Edge ready to go too. And look how quickly you just chunk through the Krugs. Hit level 14 now. Obviously not quite level 15. Like, level 15 is where like Kayle becomes unstoppable, realistically. Oh, I very rarely get to play level 15 Kayle, but when I do, she is absolutely nutty. Doing really, really well this game, obviously. And we've got the Infinity Edge built up, so that's now going to make our burst absolutely ludicrous. You can see here, I have to be a little careful. I have to respect the Evelyn. She was trying to look for the charm onto me there. Akali does manage to escape over the wall, but I unfortunately couldn't do too much in that situation because I really did need to respect her. Now, I accidentally used the ultimate on myself. This was really troll. And as you can see, you'll see it in a minute. There was an Evelyn just waiting, like in the sidelines. I had the barrier as well, and I just ended up killing her with a huge amount of burst. But I trolled that fight really hard. Like, I accidentally pressed my ultimate, and I didn't mean to. I think I meant to press my third ability. I don't really know what happened. Irrespective, though, we're Kayle late game, so it doesn't actually matter what we did. We were basically doing a ridiculous amount of damage and enough to clean up that fight. Anyway, Evelyn kind of trolled the fight, unfortunately. She was just waiting for an opportunity to go on me on the back line, but by the time that she actually got through to me, because I had both the stasis and my ultimate, her entire team was already dead. And when she actually did try and kill me, I just blew her up with a single burst, and that was basically all she wrote. So that was the game. AD Kayle.